Hello, and we're back with some more Wikidata live editing. Hello, Albin.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good as well. Today we're back with some normal editing, perhaps, after last week's experiment Wiki Dojo. And
Yeah,
I thought it was quite fun. What did you
it
think?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I felt like all of us learned something. I think we can improve on the format, but I hope people enjoyed it. Feel free
Yes.
if anyone out there have opinions about it to tell us.
Yes. I think I'm pretty sure we will revisit the format because it was so much fun, and we have a
Yeah,
few ideas for slight improvements as well. So it
yeah,
might
and it's
make it
always
even.
great to have more people on here as well with
Yep.
us.
Yes, and we're gonna try to rotate that so more people get a chance to be live and editing and get 15 minutes of fame or something like that. You might see
Exactly.
we have a new slide, more of Wikidata themed background. I
Yeah,
made a small little edit here, and we
as
all
Andrew is pointing out.
yes, nice.
Yeah, we were with us 2 times ago.
Yep, and let's see. We also got a question here from during the week. So the question is it just me or is editing Wikidata limited on mobile? And yes, we think it is. And we're going to start with that and see if we can show how it actually works. So I'm going to try share my screen here. Here we are on a Wikidata item. And if you didn't know, you can always get to the mobile view from the bottom. There's a little link down there, and it switches layout. And it's a little bit tricky to see. You see there's a pen over here, but there's no editing of the actual statements. And if you take a look here, you can edit the label and the description and the alias. And this, I believe, is a totally different module that got implemented, I think, this winter or something like that. So you sort of can edit, but you can't edit the actual parts. So that's a little bit of a bummer. And you did a little bit more research.
Yeah, so I thought, of course, this has to be recorded somewhere because it should be a common use case.
Oh,
So
oops, there.
I'm just gonna show you how to find things like this if you wanna have an opinion about something or report a bug or something. So the way to go is to fabricator.wikimedia.org, and we can just try searching somewhere here. It might look different from you because mine is quite modified. We can search for Wikidata mobile.
All right.
Let's try that. You will be presented with a bunch of tasks. Usually it's a mix of closed tasks and open tasks, depending on if they're gray or not. But we see actually down here, we have something called a story, make Wikidata editable on mobile.
That sounds
And
like something.
Yeah, and we can see here that someone has been describing this issue, and throughout the years, in this case, the issue has been tracked here, and it's a link to author IDs and workflows. So there are comments, people are subscribing to it like that. So you can actually go and investigate all the related items as well.
Quite a lot of items as well, connected to more
Yes,
than 200
especially
other
from
tasks.
right. So it's a great way to dig into how things actually work.
Awesome. And we thanks for the question. I was a little bit confused when the question came because I just came in from been out running, and I blame that for my confusion. Anyway, that's the kind of question we want. And if you want to ask more questions now, we'll be happy to try to answer anything. Do you have something in mind for today?
I do. So I had this trouble today that I couldn't figure out what I wanted to edit. Like it's
Yeah.
quite common. A couple of times I've been asking people and so. And in general, I have these times when I want to do some Wikidata editing because it's very relaxing. But I do not want to edit something that I'm very committed to, like a project I'm doing. I just want to edit to do some relaxation. And usually on Wikipedia, when I want to just edit something on Wikipedia, I click the random article button and I'm getting something. I click a couple of times until, yeah, I can edit this. This feels good. But on Wikidata, that's kind of tricky because a lot of it is actually scholarly articles. So you might need to click for a while. And it's not general the nicest way for me. So I'm gonna show what I do when I
All right.
just want to edit something without a huge commitment to it. And we're gonna try that for a while, I'm thinking. See what modeling issues we're running into and things like that.
Oh, nice. That could be very useful for people out there.
And you, Jan, what are you up to?
I almost forgot that we had this time for today, and just about an hour ago, I realized, hey, wait, there was something in my calendar, I guess, for Friday evening, and I checked. Oh yeah, we're going to do some editing, and then I just happened to see that today is also the World Day Against Child Labor, and I took a look at that Wikidata item, and I saw, oh, we have lots of work to do here. So that's where I'm going to start. So should I just hit it off?
I believe so.
All right, so let's try to share my screen. You already saw a little bit from this item. Do I need, actually, let's see if this makes it a little bit bigger for you. Yes, that's a little bit better. So we have an item, World Day Against Child Labor, International Holiday, also known as 12. I think that's strange.
Yeah, seems like
But
it.
it's also missing a Swedish label, so we'll add that. And it would be good if I could spell.
Because it's a name, would you have a uppercase letter in the start?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think we might. Wait, and I'm actually going to remove this 12 because it's not also known as 12. That's going to screw up some. I don't think this image is very representative for this day. This is
No,
just
if you
the
click
Earth.
on, yeah, is it imported?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to remove it because, and here you can have some argument like, well, it's always nice with an image, but this image is irrelevant and it will make it not appear in searches when people are trying to find good images for things, thinking that this one already has a good image. So that's why I'm actually removing it. We had an inception and day in year. Well, that's pretty good start. So I'm going to add a few things just to shape it up. See here in the English Wikipedia article, it's from the International Labour Organization. So I'm going to add the founder here. Founded by. That's the one. Let's see if we can find also. Wait, first launched in 2002. Here it says 1985. English. Well, let's come back to that. Let's come back to that. I'm going to see with this source what it says here. All right. So this is a good source both for 2002 and for this. So we can reuse it. So we'll add the reference URL and retrieve date. That's today. And that's the handy little gadget that I can recommend all of you using. And then we're going to add the title here. And that's in English. I think we're going to go ahead and try for the archive URL as well and add this to web archive. Then we'll need this again. So you've seen us doing this a number of times now. This sort of gets into a pattern when you're editing. And a lot of things with Wikidata is patterns. And I guess
Yes.
that's why you said it's also a bit relaxing.
Exactly.
So we'll see if this one saves. It might take a few seconds. Oh, something is happening at least. Good, we got something there. We'll add that here and save. Push. Now
when I'm seeing this, I'm very much thinking of the feature we have on Wikipedia where we can add a source and it just fill in all the parameters for us.
I think someone is actually working on that.
Yeah, it would make sense if someone were.
Yep. But I'm gonna check the history here and see if we can find something. Let's do it like this. I'm gonna search for 1985. That's a username. Oh, we had 2002. Someone changed to 1985. Someone who was not logged in. So I'm actually gonna try to. Well, we tried this before, I guess, to revert it, and it didn't work.
It didn't work on commons.
So let's try to restore here.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, you're restoring the entire revision.
That's not what I'm gonna do. Did I? No, cancel out from that. Cancel out from that. I want to undo. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes. All right. I haven't seen this restore thing before. Is that new?
I don't think so.
This is what I'm going to do. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So undo vandalism. I'll call that. Push. And then I think we can also reuse the source here instead of the import source because it said the. So I'm going to go down here. No, that's not where it was. Down here. Copy this. And insert here. And I'm going to remove the imported from because now we have a better source. And that's also something you might think, do we really want to remove it? But I think in some places that also for queries, people are filtering out stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remove that one and publish.
And it's this imported from also says only that it's imported from Wikipedia. It never says something about the original source.
Yep.
So if one can replace those, it's always positive in my opinion.
Yes. So, and one more thing we can add here that should be important is the main subject. And I guess we'll add child labor.
Yeah.
Like that. And I think this is not much, but it's a improvement. We corrected some things. We added a few things.
I think we during our wiki dojo, didn't we have so we had a recurrent event we edited and we added something of property for how often it came back. So this would be once in a year.
Yes.
So this
So
has
we have-
something similar.
This
but,
has day in year, which we also want the period or something like that.
Exactly.
Time of, yes. Here we have, and it also
Yes.
says year there. So we'll go for year. Oh, so 1 and
Yes,
year.
exactly.
Estimated time around the, yeah, that's good enough. Estimated time around the sun. Good spot. All right, so I'm gonna switch a little bit here, because when I saw this, I also remembered that this is work against child labor is also part of the Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm a little bit active in the Wiki project for sustainable development on Wikidata. So I just want to show, because I don't think we have been into that many Wiki projects yet. So
No.
So this is a way for users on Wikidata to collaborate on a topic, more or less. And the topic could be anything. And topic can also be not topical, but methodology, like sources or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's one just called data quality or something like that.
Yeah. And typically you have them like an introduction. You have something about the scope, like what will this project work in, and you also try to list the most important or most used properties, because that is always one of the hard part with Wikidata, knowing what will I use when. And then we also have some queries here that could be helpful for checking data quality or stuff like that. So I think we might return to this later. I'm just going to switch to one of the targets for. So there are 17 goals, and each of the goals have sub-targets. And this happened to be the sub-target. Oh, this was very small. I'm going to have to. So 8.7 here. This one is the one for that are addressing child labor. But so far, this target doesn't say anything about child labor. So I thought, well, let's add that as a main subject as well. So we'll go with child labor here. And then I also saw here that it was not only child labor, but it was also forced labor, slavery, trafficking, and child soldiers. So it's going to be a few more here. So, and I'm also going to add that as a reference. So let's start with reference here. This is from the United Nations. Retrieved today. We have a title up here. I think this was goal 8. Is this? I can't copy that. Oh, English. Didn't like this with it large, so I'm going, or with capital. Like that. And now let's do this properly and make sure it's in the Wayback Machine as well. I guess this one is already in here, but it doesn't hurt to have them updated today.
No, not at all.
Even if it hasn't changed since the last time, at least we will know it didn't.
Right.
All right, let's copy that.
Especially if one has the retrieved date there as well.
Yes, then it makes perfect sense to add it, because then we can actually look at it exactly like how we looked at it today in the future. So that's the good start. Now let's see if we can find a few of the other ones as well, as forced labor, unfree labor, forced labor. Yes, that'll work. And we're gonna also add slavery. Publish that. And let's see if we can find child soldier as well. We can. Good. And all of these can use the same source. So I will reload this one and copy it. Come on, Wikidata. You can load it. There we go. Copy and insert. Insert. Oop. Insert. And insert. All right.
We have been showing this a couple of times, but it might be worth mentioning once again that this is a gadget and you can access and add those in your settings. So if you're new to Wikidata, you wouldn't see this copy reference.
No. So you go to the preferences here, and then you have this gadgets tab, and you have a lot of good things in here. So, and I don't even have everything activated, but it is this one, the duplicate references. So I use it all the time. I will not click it out or unclick it.
I'm actually just now double checking that I got it.
Yes. So that was good. We improved the item, but I also noticed here that this one is not on the maintenance list for the wiki project, which made me realize, probably none of them are. So let's try to do some mass editing today, because we haven't really been doing that as well before. And to do that as a help here, here's a query, and here's where these project queries come in handy, because someone already wrote the query that I wanted to use. So here's the query for when it's very easy. It's just looking for an item of a certain type. So we can go try it. We'll run or load. And we'll run it, and we'll see something on the order of 160, 167. That seems correct. And we have a lot of them, and we have this strange order as well, of course. So what I want to do now, I'm going to make sure that the items that we're searching for doesn't already have this. So I'm going to use minus. I think this one is with the parenthesis. We'll go with item. Now this is, no, let's see, maintained by Wiki project. And let's see, which one is this? Does it have a Wikidata item? It has. So just add that there. Yes, that's the right one. Let's see if it changes. I don't think this one will.
I don't think minus is a function.
So it's like this.
Yeah, bird.
I always make this mistake. All right, the same result. So then we know this isn't added. We have a tool called Petscan, and I already made this here. Oh, and here I made it correctly, so of course. The only thing I did here was actually removing label and item description because we don't need those for the Petscan. And it found 167 results as well. And actually, let me take this back from the beginning. So Petscan is a tool that looks like this. It can do plenty of various things, search in categories for templates and stuff like that. And it has, to me, the first time I used this, a little bit confusing, a bunch of tabs here on which you can operate on. And the tab that we're using now is actually not Wikidata, but other sources where you have the sparkle. Yeah, so that could be a little bit confusing. So let's grab this. We don't gonna need to order it. And just paste that in from our query into here. We're not gonna need the labels, so let's remove that and remove the label and description from here. And you press do it, which will run this again. And hopefully Petscan works still. Something's happening. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So here we have the results. It's still 167, so it's the same. Now here to the right, I think I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Here is a kind of mysterious box. But what it actually can do here, you can add statements on this box, through this box on all these, or you can also uncheck if you don't want to add them manually on a few of them. And I've been using this when the tool was named Autolist, and it looked more or less exactly the same, but now that tool isn't here anymore. But the functionality is still here in Petscan, which is pretty awesome. So let's see if I can do 167 edits here in a short while. So, and this is a little bit different than the query service. So you can see an example here. So it just wants the property, colon, and the item. And luckily, we have those here. So we have the property and the item. So let's copy this down here and remove the WD. I think you need to be sort of logged in here. This one recognizes me already. So fingers crossed.
Probably VDAR login, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Emergency stop here if you need it. Let's see if this one says running. Yes. So now you can see things are removing here, and this one is. So let's go to my contributions and make sure what I just made looked good. So if we need to press the emergency button, we can. So let's see diff here. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
All right. Do you know if you can close that tab now and let it do it in the background, or does it have to stay open or so? Or can you like go out for a walk or a run?
I think I need to have this open.
Right.
I'm not sure. It also had the option here to move this into a quick statement batch. And then there, of course, you can also add more stuff or make it run as a batch.
Right.
So this runs a little bit slower than I remembered it. But it might be because I'm not running it with my bot account, which has a flood
Makes sense.
flag.
It's probably about a 10-second limit then?
Yes, probably. It seems like that.
About right.
Yes. So this is going to take some time. So let's go back and revisit it after a while, and let you try figure out something to do.
Right. So very often for me, I'm committed to some projects in Wikidata, for example, Glacier or something like that. But sometimes I just want to edit Wikidata because I just find it somewhat relaxing when I can edit something without spending too much time on research and still feeling good about myself. And as Jan mentioned, it's kind of repetitive. It's just relaxing. I find it. And what I would do on Wikipedia when I want to edit something is click random article. But if I do that on Wikidata, it's just generally chemicals, or this is a star actually. That's not every day. Or
Oh, that's the new thing. I think it's just added a couple of million stars and galaxies recently.
oh right, yeah, I can imagine one can have a lot of those. Yeah, I'm not even sure what this is.
It's
On
also
Wikipedia,
some
it
sort of
usually
galaxy.
takes
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah, there you get an article.
Yeah, here I got a scientific article. Great. But not great because it's somewhat tricky to edit. Also, this recoin I'm showing up, it doesn't find anything missing because they are so similar, all of them. So this, I can't use this one. I just want to edit something. Because also I don't know a lot on this subject, not enough on Wikipedia. It's somewhat different. You can always figure something out. So what I usually do is that I go to the VDQS, or the Wikidata Query Service, as it's also called, and I decide for somewhat a subject I know quite a lot about, or something like that. In this case, it's a very common case for me. I'm gonna do sports and I'm gonna do orienteering. So what I would do, I would select everything where, in this case, I just happens to know the property. But for example, you could do this with instance of, if you just want to edit cats, instance of cat, and so on. But I'm gonna use a different property. I'm gonna use the very generic one called sports. This can be used at sport clubs, it can be used on athletes, it can be used at competitions and everything like that. So it's very great and generic, lovely to query on. And let's see here. And I want the sport actually to be orienteering. Orienteering.
If you're new to this, you might not know that if you just write a word and press Control Space, it will actually result with this list.
Yes. And something, if you're new to this, that's actually very nice to do. I'm gonna copy my queries, I got it. But it's not to write this from scratch like I do. It's much simpler than that. You just click on example, you click on the example cats or goats. Very many people use cats because you can see they leave the cats comment there in their queries when they shared it. And here you have this instance of, and here you got house cat, it's called nowadays, not cat. So you would just do this control space here and search for a different type, like museum. And then you would be able to query museums. But I'm using this sport property for today, but that's a great trick order-wise that I think most people use actually. They start from an example query and builds upon that. And you can see here that I'm not querying here for any labels or anything, and I do that very intentionally. So if I would query for labels, I would like automatically filter out which items I would then go on and edit. But now I just see queue number, and I actually don't know what I will end up editing. And just editing orienteering is a little extra fun for me because I have edited for several years. So I think a couple of episodes back, we had this time when we merged two items, and the duplicate item we merged was an item I created over 5 years ago. And when it comes to things like orienteering, this is very common for me. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can find an item I haven't edited even. So it's going to query here and let's see. Okay, so a little more than 1,000 results. That's perfect. Very often this sport property is missing, but we just want some relaxation today. I just going to start with the top, which is the lowest number by default. It has some type of default sorting in there. Let's see. Okay, we get a quite famous orienteer actually. We get Simone Nigli, who is a orienteer from Switzerland. Waidu, however, I believe lives in Sweden, but I'm not sure about that. I want to look at the history to begin with. What can we see? Oh, I edited this just in April. Okay. Let's see here. What more have I done? Jan, you have been editing this.
Oh, I added a
Let's
reference.
see. Yes. Using some type of tool, I assume, by the tag
I think so
Vidar.
too. I have
Yeah,
no
but
memory of it.
okay. Let's see what we can improve upon here. The standard things: image, instance of, sex or gender, country of citizenship, given name, date of birth, place of birth. I assume it's missing a reference. Yes. I don't know of one, so I won't go ahead. Here we can actually see some interesting modeling. Swiss Sport Personality of the Year, and we see point in time, and we see that there are several of those. So there are two things to model this, and this is not one of the ways. So sometimes you got like a Swiss Personality of the Year, and then 2020, 2019, and so on, and then you can duplicate this and just change the year. However, I would assume that this is not the case here. And even if it would be like good practice to split it up, let's see if there is anything linked here. No. So I assume not. So even if that would be a good practice to split it up and create an item for each of those years, I don't think that's sane in this case, because it would be a lot of items. It's great if someone do it with a bot or something, but it's not necessarily at all to improve upon the modeling there a little. But what you actually want to do is you want to duplicate just one part of it. So you want to have the year another time, and I'm going to start with just one of them. And I want to add a qualifier. And the reason I would do this to split up the point and team for each of one of those is because they might need different references. They might need different type of qualifiers, like what's the reason this person got this advert and things like that.
Yes.
So therefore I'm duplicating it. Again, it would be nice if we had a Swiss sports personality for each year, but we do not.
Yeah. And I guess for splitting up here, even if we don't have different things on this item, if that's the way you usually do it, then it's going to be trickier to find in queries if this one deviates from that modeling.
Yeah, and you would get odd matches when you have multiple years like that. And we also saw this exclamation mark prompting us that this should only be one value here.
Yes.
So I'm just going to clean it up like this.
Oh, and 3 times.
Yes. It makes a lot of sense, in my opinion. I'm gonna do the years here in some type of order, just because. It doesn't really matter from a modeling perspective at all.
No.
So, I get a lot of edits for this. Thank you very much, Wikidata.
Yeah.
I wish that was only one. So that already looks a lot better, and we didn't really use any type of brain power to do this. It's just they're updating things, repeating some. And I'm pretty happy with that. I don't see anything like directly. I actually do see one thing. I know this for a fact that Simone Nigli has been she's not only the citizen of Switzerland, she's also competing for Switzerland. Which we of course have a property for.
Yes, and we talked about that 2 episodes ago, I guess.
I imagine based on what I usually edit.
Yeah.
So country for sport, we have something called as a person can be citizen of one or more countries and compete for a different one. That said, it's not super common in orienteering. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It was some quick improvements. Just again, relaxing, not spending too much time. Let's see if we can pick something else. Something with a higher number or something. Oh, we got one of... I'm surprised this has such a high number. This is one of the world's largest orienteering competitions. And it's actually, I think it's Finland's largest sports event in total.
Ooh, all right.
It has a similar status to what we would see the Vasaloppet having in Sweden, being a really large one for the general public and not only major athletes. So this is...
So general public orienteers in Finland?
Yeah, kind of like Vasaloppet in Sweden, that everyone can compete there. There are a lot of like company teams attending this event. So people are sending people from their company doing it. A bit of a fun thing. So I think we edited a while ago recurring sport events. Again, we already mentioned this one time period of periodically occurring event. It has a different from something. That's nice. I can't imagine what I would... Oh, here's actually a fun piece of modeling that could be discussed a little. So we see official website, and it refers to its official website. But we also see this language of work or name, but they're all pointing to the same website.
Yeah.
But if we would actually open this URL, I assume we get it in English or Finnish. Let's see. We get it in Finnish. Okay. So this is very interesting. What would one do here? For example, if we would actually select English instead, we get a different URL. And I'm pretty sure the URL works like this as well. I'm going to copy that for later.
Yes, because now it went to the specific year here.
Yeah, but I think it's generic and should resolve this as well. Yes.
It did.
I believe they have been using that in the past. And for similar reasons, we split up this item when we had different years for others. This would be very nice if we could actually... Because if someone builds an application upon this, and I want to go to this website, but I have my language settings in Swedish, which URL would it pick? So this isn't really helpful.
No.
And also, for example, if we look at this website, we can see that actually it's only Finnish, English, and Swedish. No, it's not. Russian isn't there anymore. And we cannot state here that Russian is deprecated. It doesn't exist anymore because they all share the same statement on value. So we want to split this up.
Sounds like a good idea.
So I'm going to do like that. I'm going to publish it like that because the default language we're Finnish. I'm going to add a value, add a qualifier. Language work of name. This was English.
Yes. So for if we happen to find something like a press release or something, or when they say we're going to stop with Russian, we could add an end date for that even.
We could, exactly. So you could actually track how this competition is, what languages it advertises itself in. I actually going to leave the Russian out for now because it wasn't even a reference, so it's really hard to tell if it's ever been there. I believe it has because it's one of the main languages at this competition.
But it would require some research.
Yes. I'm just gonna double check that this is how it is. Yeah. Actually,
no.
Not. That's very interesting.
Wait.
So I got Swedish there if I go on the year, but if I just click Swedish like this, it won't.
No.
No,
Oh.
that's slightly problematic.
Yes.
I will actually leave Swedish out then,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yes. So
Because for
if we had an item for the competition each year, we could add it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
right now, it doesn't feel right.
I believe it's somewhat likely that we do have that for this event because it's such a major one.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old one. It's from 1949.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, one of the largest competitions. But I'm going to leave that out.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sad, but that's how it is. And something you would notice if you would just enter the URL here is that, and not add a qualifier stating the language, is that you would see that you would get this warning again because it actually wants you to type the language here. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because this, for example, power info boxes at Wikipedia to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason you want to split those up.
Yeah, and it could for sure also, as you said, other people building applications
Right.
are likely to use this.
Essentially, Wikipedia is the main example of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuing. Let's try if we find something somewhat obscure.
Just a question on the competition there. Do you know why it's named like it is? Because it didn't have a name after.
I do not know why it's named that. For
Yeah.
me, for my entire life, it has just been when someone says that, I don't know Finnish, so it has always been that competition.
Yeah. All right.
Does it mean something, Jan?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay.
No.
I scroll down a bit to see if we could
All right. The third
get
type.
something similar. So we got a Norwegian sports club. And it's quite a generic one. I see it's instance of football club, association football club. It has a lot. So this is a generic sports club. So it has Nordic skiing or cross-country skiing, I assume. Floorball, handball, association football, and things like that. So the first thing that comes to mind is actually making this more generic. So I know we could add instance of for all of their sports, but I believe it's very likely that not only the sports included here, also because this translates directly to sports club from Norwegian. So I would make this more generic and just say sport club.
I think that's a good idea. And I think this is, I'm not sure if this is like a Nordic thing, but a lot of small local clubs are these generic clubs. You have one on the entire city, and then you do everything in it, and you have like different departments or something.
Yeah, and it's also quite common that, for example, sports that are somewhat related or in any way you would assume that the same type of people are doing them. Like in orienteering, it's very common that you find cross-country skiing and orienteering in the same club, or orienteering and running in the same club. So then they are kind of generic. I'm feeling a little unsure about this one because it also has association football club. And that might actually be an important one to keep because of querying and things like that. Like they might attend a specific league or something like that. So for now, it makes me somewhat... but I'm going to look at how the I-team here is modeled actually, if it doesn't have a Norwegian one. And the Swedish one is just says football, essentially.
Maybe association football is just the proper name for football.
Yeah, I believe so. So it's just generic. I would remove one of them and make this more generic. And now, actually, when I'm thinking of it, Jan, how do you feel about if we would model it like this? We could write off, sports club off, orienteering or football or such. It sounds a little weird. I wonder if the model would be correct.
You
But
sort
it
of could,
qualifier.
but you also have the property sports already, which I think
Right.
people would
Yes.
rather use for querying for this.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
So I don't think it will add much of value, even if you, for readability, perhaps. No, wow,
No, not really.
no.
I'm gonna leave it as it is.
Mhm.
Instance of sport club. It's in Trondheim, okay. It has a generic URL as well. Here we actually got this example. I said if you have an official website with only a URL, but with no language, it will display a warning saying that the mandatory qualifier for this, for example, is language of work or name. So I just gonna click on this. I'm assuming it's in Norwegian. It is. I can't actually tell which Norwegian
Which one of them
language
from this?
because it's slightly too little information here.
Do we have had the sports there? We're all covered.
Orienteering, handball, skiing, football, floorball. Yeah, I believe so.
Is Nordic skiing alpine skiing?
That's a very good question. I assumed it was cross-country skiing, but it might not be.
Oh, right. So this is... Wait, the images doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. So this is combined, as it's called. This is cross-country skiing.
Yes.
This is cross-country skiing of some
Nordic
type.
combination, yes.
Yeah, this is Nordic combination. Cross-country skier, ski jumper, Nordic combined. So this is essentially Nordic combined.
Yeah. So that's not the alpine. That's what's on the website.
No.
So we want some sort of other
I think we should just edit this.
Yep.
And we can actually use these fancy copying references to later on. Let's see here. Alpine skiing, right. Gonna publish that. I'm gonna copy this URL. I create a reference. Has part as well.
And now you're at the Nordic skiing.
Oh, right.
You're not in the club.
That makes sense. Okay, then
yes.
has part makes sense. Okay, to some extent. We want to add a reference. Let's see what this. So this is imported from Wikipedia. I actually want to start by removing that. And Jan already went through why, so I won't repeat it. We want to have a reference URL. The URL. We want to add retrieve. We want to have that being today. We want to have an archive URL. Let's see which one is that archive URL.
Yep.
We want to create such an URL. We want to go to web.archive.org. Let's see, we want to use this.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're quite diligent of adding references when we can, and I think it's quite important both for ensuring the data quality on Wikidata itself, and it also makes it much more maintainable if you can actually check a reference or a statement and see, does this really say what it is, or is it someone just adding something for fun?
Right. And essentially, when you do editing like we have been doing today, we have just been exploring subjects and things like that. And you have seen us remove some information that we haven't been able to verify today. And if there would be just have been this small thing, we might not have been needing to remove that. We could say that this is deprecated or something like that.
Yes.
But in the Wayback Machine, instead of using the main bar here, you have this save page now. I'm gonna show it once again.
And also, I think this is something that regular Wikipedians will value a lot. If they see that the statements that are being incorporated, used from Wikidata, are actually properly sourced, that will going to be people are going to be much more happier about that.
Yeah, especially as we see them showing up in things like info boxes and things like that.
Yep.
I'm also gonna add. There should be an archive date.
Archive date? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there you have it.
Dated document was archived. I think we can use this here.
Possibly, yes.
I'm gonna try, see what happens. It doesn't feel error or so.
No.
I wonder, no. Yeah, you can. Language of worker name. Because it's not English here. I couldn't tell from the very little. Oh, actually, why doesn't it give me?
You spell it wrong. Right. There you have it.
So I can't tell which Norwegian language this is because it's so little text there.
Yeah.
And I just
for you others, you want to go back and pause this, you can find an item that need its label edited because the one that you saw there was an error in the spelling.
Right. So also what this allows to, because there are multiple Norwegian languages, written ones, it allows people to query for this generic one, and then someone would catches things a little easier than I do. Can pick the right one.
Yes.
So having it look like this, I'm gonna publish it. I'm gonna use this fancy copy feature here, which we showed off how you would install. And I'm gonna insert it on all of this. Oh, this is satisfying.
Yeah, good.
Right. And again, it complains here because it's lacking language. I'm gonna language of worker name again. I'm just gonna keep it to the generic one. And I think, let's see what happens here. If I click publish now, oh, I didn't get a warning here. Sometimes when doesn't think it affect when I did a qualifier here, but if I would have changed the web page here, it would have complained that I changed the value but not the reference.
Yeah, yes.
Because actually now when I have added this additional information, I would very often actually remove this that it's imported from, because it doesn't apply to all information here anymore.
No.
It might be bad for the statistics that we have fewer references, but this imported one, it doesn't really help.
I don't think we count those in the good statistics.
I hope not, but someone will.
Yes, someone will.
So I'm doing that as well. Right. So this is a great example. Now I've been editing a couple of items. I'm not very committed to maintaining things like Norwegian Generic Sports Club. Still, I can improve upon it without. I haven't opened many sources. I've been checking web pages if they're correct and things like that. And I mean, I got items here for days.
Yes.
And having not a label allows me to just, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing here. 1962 orienteering championships, European orienteering championships.
I like it how you have struck or hitting different kinds of things.
Yeah, so sometimes I was a little worried here actually that I would hit a lot of athletes and it would be slightly boring, but because this sports property is so generic that it applies to instance of European orienteering championships, and it applies to, for example, sport events, sports leagues, athletes, clubs, and various things.
And I guess something similar, like you could go for query and like you have in your image here, location, and pick your home village or hometown, and you don't know what kinds of items you get, but you probably have some knowledge about some of them.
Yeah, we have the time, I believe. Let's try that.
Sure.
We're gonna use this autocomplete, control space on most computers. It varies a little. We're gonna do location. We want this generic one, 276, because it points to different items. It's not a coordinate or something. And at least been growing up on the countryside, but at least one of the closest places are the lovely place that has been named Swedish most boring city many years in a row, Flen. And Jan knows this place pretty well because he stayed at an even smaller place outside it for a while, right?
A much smaller place. The suburbs of Flen.
Right, yeah. And I have then been growing up in an even more suburban area than that.
All right.
Population currently is 17.
Yeah, the place I live in had around 100.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got 8 items for Flen. It might not be the perfect example. I assume that most of theirs then are protected buildings and monuments. Actually,
seems likely.
That.
Let's see.
Yeah, this is a museum.
All
so
right.
Part of Wikilab monuments and therefore in Wikidata. I should really know more about this, but I do not. I wonder if Recoin can tell us something. No, not really. So
that one was hard.
Yeah, and just the working life museums are usually only their statements, again imported from a database and such.
Yeah.
We will try another thing. We will instead use the slightly larger city somewhat to the south. Again, control space.
Or maybe even
At
west.
Least southwest.
But, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, we got 22. More items. 22. Yes. Okay. The locations are growing. Next up would be Stockholm or something, I guess. Let's pick a random one here. Yeah. I'm not sure this is protected building. I don't think so. No, this is actually the library.
Yeah, the cultural center
in the city. So it's a cultural center. I assume the library would be part of here. But I'm not sure if this is the library or not. And I'm a little worried that the library might already be in Wikidata because library is part of the recent efforts from Finding Glams to add things like that.
Yep.
So therefore I'm a little worried that it would already be there, so I wouldn't want to add like an item or something like that. I might check the Swedish Wikipedia article. Yeah, it says it contains a library and an art gallery. And
so would we add the properties used for or something like that here?
Oh, that we could, without actually interfering if there would be an item we can't find. Because I'm not sure what the library is named. I assume it's named the same as the building. So we might use we might use the property use. I believe it's called. Yeah,
Yes,
main use
that's one.
of the subject
Yeah.
library. Right?
Another R before the Y.
Let's see. This is always tricky.
There you go.
Right. And I think that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add another value. I can't do that. Okay. I assume the term used is art gallery. It's not an art museum.
You could try writing it in Swedish and see if you get a hit.
Yes.
No, these are probably names. You have the Kunsthalle.
This one?
Yes, I think it's going to be the one.
Let's see. This is a specific one.
No, that was the
southern
one in
Sweden.
Lund. No, that's not.
Yeah, this is a generic one, right?
Yes. Yep.
It's a subclass of. Okay, it's not really a subclass of art museum, in my opinion, but fine. I cannot go down every rabbit hole.
No.
That's not the intention of my relaxing Wikidata editing. It's when I find a rabbit hole, then I just, no, not today. But we're going to add that as well. Actually, we can also add...
Was it also cafe?
Yes, there is a cafe. Or at least it were cafe back in the days. I
think the Wikipedia article stated it was.
Yeah. Coffee house cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a little limited description, but fine. I'm sure it serves tea and coffee at least. Something else would surprise me. Actually, something we can say rather easily here is, because this points to the website as well, we have the operator, which I'm gonna type in Swedish. Oh, and I'm gonna learn to spelling another live.
Yes. We have the autocomplete.
Yes, exactly. It's there for a reason, right? Autocomplete and autocorrection and things like that are there because we should not be required to learn how to spell.
Yeah.
I never said that, by the way. Okay, I think that's it. Another thing that I just came to think of is that you could also here use main subject, because it's also one of the properties that's used a little more widely. It's used on artwork. It's used on all kind of things.
Books, popular culture.
Books, papers.
Yeah.
You had a wall day. You added it too, and
Yep.
the sustainable development goals as well. It's another great property to query if you want to do this type of thing.
Yeah. All right. That's a very good tip. Use the query service.
That's it for today, right?
Using the query service instead of the random item to get a smaller subselect.
Yeah, and I strongly recommend that one would make sure you don't have the labels, because that's how you get surprises and learn something new, and just in general improve upon things that other people might not improve upon.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I guess that's it for today. And I think we might not be back at the same time next week, because in Sweden we have what we call Midsummer's Eve. Now, I am not in Sweden, and maybe not even you either, because you are in Sweden, but you're moving.
I am moving next week, so in general, my next week is a little busier, but and then there's Midsummer.
Yeah,
but possibly the week after that.
Possibly the week after that. So until then, have a great time editing Wikidata.